Hello! She-Hulk Attorney at Law Episode 4, otherwise known as Who Wrote This and Can They Keep It Up? It's good. Well, mostly good. Good with a but. I honestly don't have that much to complain about. At the end of the episode, I found myself pleasantly surprised. There was no overt sexism, and it mostly made sense. Mostly. And there was a fight in it. That looked good. Knock me down and call me Susan. In short, the episode is made up of two stories. Jennifer Walters trying to get a date, and Wong legally trying to stop a rogue magician from using sorceries. Both explore how heroism affects normal life, which is what I wanted to see from the start. And we get some actual legal stuff, yay! I will warn you, there are some deliberately annoying characters in this, one of which I would quite happily skin alive with 80 grit sandpaper.
Madison King. Madison is with 2 N's, 1 Y, but it's not where you think.
Unfortunately, there is no continuation of any of the hints of story arcs that came before, which is a shame. But after episode 1 being tailor-made to annoy, episode 2 not being much of a muchness, and 3 having plenty of Blonsky if also annoyances, episode 4 is a step in the right direction. In general, I will give this a thumbs up. There is a light, dear viewers, a light of hope. Now I've said that, let's discuss more specific details. I don't normally watch the previously on bit, but for some reason I did this week, and I saw this.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Who the hell is that?
That wasn't in there last time, and wait, did they change the sound of the wall being smashed in? I assumed they edited the courtroom fight down for whatever reason, and this pretty much confirms it, but why add this stuff back in now? And here? Anyway, when Jennifer gets ready for work, she dresses in clothes way too big for her. I like this detail. Jennifer repeatedly talks about how she wants to be normal and doesn't want to be She-Hulk all the time, so she would absolutely be her normal self outside of work. At the same time, she needs to be She-Hulk at work, so she puts her big girl clothes on beforehand. It's efficient, allows her to be herself for longer, and it's probably really comfortable in clothes that baggy. On the subject of clothes, she mentions later,
"We have got to get you some new clothes."
You know what? There's very limited selection of clothing that fits my body.
Clearly.
This is something I've heard quite a few times from women, including the job I worked at where the uniform wasn't designed with female co-workers' boobs in mind. A relatable female struggle that isn't anti-man nor shoved down our throats. Who wrote this episode and where were you the last 3 episodes? Mind you, Jennifer isn't the only one having this problem. You need a better fitting dress, love, you've got side boob for days. There's the morning after bit of the episode where the guy Jennifer hooks up with sees Jennifer as Jennifer and gets put off. I'm pretty sure there's plenty of people who can relate to waking up the morning after and thinking, what and who did I do last night? And am I the only one thinking that with She-Hulk being as strong as she is, wouldn't she essentially be a penis guillotine? Maybe it's just me. Moving on. The courtroom stuff is a bit messy and disorganised. It's mostly played for laughs, which does have me worried for Matt Murdock. Crossing my fingers he's treated with respect. Once again, we have lots of portal-related issues which make them even less understandable than before. Seriously, how are people being located to open a portal to them? Which leads me to Wong. At the start of the episode, Jennifer says,
I guess you saw that Wong is back. God, everybody loves Wong. It's like giving the show Twitter armor for a week.
If anything, the opposite is true. The MCU is slowly becoming the Wong cinematic universe, and it makes me wonder if this isn't the mentality behind it. Unfortunately, the more he's used, the more we're shown just how little the writers know what they're doing when it comes to magic. I've mentioned the portals in this video and the last, but now we have a lot more dialogue, and once again it's like someone had phrases to hand with no context nor willingness to find out how they should be used.
Sending volunteers into other realms for casual fun. But he barely has a grasp of the basics of interdimensional portaling. It risks untethering the material and astral planes. One man in the mortal realm has the ability to cause a ripple so great it reverberates through every dimension. And that ripple through galaxies has the ability to destroy all life within the known and unknown universe.
The Wong CU, has enough problems referencing exactly what they mean when there doesn't appear to be a specific agreed upon definition for anything. Now we have Wong, the Sorcerer Supreme and expert on the subject, and thanks to the writers he sounds like an idiot who doesn't know what he's doing. Speaking of, I also think it's odd he's going through the courts for this. Doctor Strange would grab people off the street if he thought them dangerous. This nutter sending people into random realms, dimensions, locations would absolutely constitute a quick chat in the mirror dimension. To top off the cupcake of terrible, Wong cockblocks Jennifer. Bastard. So yeah, Wong is the worst part of this episode. Other than that, there's not a lot to complain about. Hopefully they can keep this up, and maybe in the future we'll be able to look back and say, She-Hulk's worth a watch, you just have to get through the first couple episodes. I hope you will join me next week to find out. Hello again. So I decided against my better judgment to listen to some reviews about this episode of She-Hulk. I listened to Metalcommander's, which was alright, had some differing and correlating opinions, and one specific thing I want to talk about. And I spent 30 minutes listening to Hill vs Babyface before I had to turn off because my ears were bleeding and my brain was rotting. By this point I hope I've pointed out that this show has issues, and specifically this episode, while good, there was also bad. To then hear people declare off the bat that this whole episode was terrible made me question their sincerity, motives, or cognitive abilities. Like I said, Gentle Cum Handler was mostly alright and non-offensive, but there was one thing that got me. He talks about the courtroom scene, which I think is a hearing rather than a trial. He complains that this needs to be looked into, the magic's clarified and classified, which, yeah, they do, really. He complains that this isn't being done, then describes how the judge is going to get back to them after she's looked into everything.
Okay, no. This case is far from closed. I'll need to review the motion, and you'll have my decision in a few weeks.
This is cognitive dissonance, something normally used to describe badly written fiction, but in real life. Cum Handler knows the judge is going to look into it, but complains that no one is looking into it. I can only put this down to it being a live stream, and his stream of consciousness didn't catch this conflict. Heel vs Babyface, on the other hand, was a whole different kettle of fish. His review was an hour and 20 odd minutes, but I stopped after 30 because my ears were being raped. Which was one of his points actually, which is why I had to jump ahead to try and find it, because fuck listening to all of that lot. Most of what I heard, if not all of it, was reiterating the episode in a sarcastic tone. There was barely any discussion about the events of the show itself, just a piling on of assumptions about writers' intent. Stupidly enough, he says you can sum up the entire episode in a couple of sentences, but his stream is an hour and 20 minutes long? So either the show has more to say than his hyperbole suggests, or he waffled on for a very, very long time. Turns out it's both. But the big one, the big accusation he teases right at the start and leaves till the end, is that She-Hulk raped her date. How the fuck did you come up with that? His evidence is she was dropped onto him, then she picked him up and carried him into the bedroom. That's it. Apparently that's enough to accuse someone of rape. Fuck me sideways with a spatula, talk about reaching. She-Hulk is dropped on the bloke from a portal. They laugh about her being covered in goo, then there's a cut to her carrying him away with him going, "Whoa." And rape happened when? Add heel versus Babyface to the pile of vacuous reviewers who say nothing of value. I apologise if this came across a bit aggressive, but it needed to be addressed. When a piece of media is released, it needs properly critiquing for fans of said media to see it as legitimate. Shit reviews by shit reviewers will muddy the waters and make people associate critiques of media, good or bad, with this shit. Anyway, rant over, back to the video. Feel free to do all the YouTube things and maybe visit my Patreon and Etsy store if you fancy it. Last but not least, thank you for watching.